Okay, YouTube, MayHem bike here. Amstar Nostalgia 50. This is the engine removal video. Never taken the engine off before. You gotta have your service stand up, because that's bolted to the frame. This kickstand and the side stand comes off with the foot pegs, which you have to take off first. So here we go. Let's get into it. You're gonna need a 9/16 or 14 millimeters to undo your foot pegs. Just crank them off. It's just like when you assembled the bike. If you assembled it, if you didn't assemble your bike, there's 4 bolts underneath the engine, right where the oh, I grabbed a 15. No, it's a 9/16. Oh, there's a 9/16. Let's try this. No, it's not a 9/16. I feel stupid now, folks, because it's early. No, it's a 1/2 inch. After all that drama. There may be some swearing in this video. If you don't like swearing, you're obviously tuning into the wrong channel. Okay, so anyway, 1/2 inch. There's 4 bolts, pretty much underneath where your engine serial number is. If you look from this side, to undo the foot peg. They have lock washers and regular washers. I am on a city street in Trenton, New Jersey. So you're gonna hear people walking by and talking and stuff like that. So it's gonna be 90-some degrees today. So I'm trying to get this done soon. The downside is it's already 70 degrees out. And you have to take off this here because it bolts to the bottom of the engine. And the right side that you can't see actually blocks your exhaust. So it's kind of a you gotta do it type of deal to get that off. Like I said, put it up in your service stand. If you need to as you go along, take pictures, but this is pretty self-explanatory. There's one, see, lock washer, washer. This is usually like the first thing you put on when you get your bike together. Put it up on a service stand. Put this on so you can put your side kickstand down. Okay, so there's your foot peg assembly coming off with your 4 bolts. You could set that aside. Set that up over there so it's not in my way. Put the bolts with it. Don't mind the fat head. Okay, next coming off will be your exhaust. You'll need 10 millimeter something to do it with. Dig up my 10 millimeter socket, but I'll just use a 10 millimeter wrench because they should come off pretty easy because, you know, Chinese quality anyway. Also, if you're doing this, make sure you have a spare crush washer, because you're not supposed to reuse it because it'll leak. You don't want to burn a valve, that would be bad, right? So, I used extended bolts I got off Amazon with one of my other projects. They're easier to get at than the little tiny nuts they provide you from the factory. So I'm taking that off. Again, if you need to, take pictures. I'm gonna go around the other side and take the exhaust off. Now I have an aftermarket exhaust, so it's pretty much the same idea. Bolt, yank off your exhaust. Always keep an adjustable wrench with me. I don't know what size I need half the time. Uh-oh. I don't want to go crazy here and get hurt. I'm get the right tool for the job. Again, I'm limited space. I have like a half a sidewalk here to play with, so slightly unlevel ground, so I have to be careful not to have this thing fall off the service stand today. It's a 14mm bolt for your exhaust bolt. So you're aware. It's on the other side of the engine. It's a 14mm bolt when your exhaust on. Take that off. That's out of the way. Put that up out of the way. Bolts out of the way. Again, I've never done this before, folks, so you get to hear me cuss after that. The next step would be on this side of the bike, there's going to be a cotter pin through a bolt. That's where your brake was. Your brake may or may not have been installed when you got your bike. I don't know. But you'll see there's a hole with a shaft. That's a spring to spring it back up, and also for your brake indicator. Basically, you pull this off next. That's out of the way. Again, you're just disassembling. So if you need help, take a picture. Let's see. Piece parts from that back here. I guess for me, the next step would be the spark plug wire. Just unplug it. Get that undone so you don't forget to do it later. Gently try not to wreck it. Just lay that back out of the way. Make sure all your springs and stuff on this side are out of your way. I do have it 20-volt impact out here and a 20-volt screwdriver out here in case I come across something that's not kosher. Next up would be to disconnect the other ground wire, which is down here and hidden. There's a zip tie here. You might need to clip that off to get your stuff off because it looks like it's clipped in there. Oh, mine's just wrapped, so that's good. This is your starter wire. You'll see it's a screwdriver. Let me go grab a screwdriver. Again, it's one of the things I don't have out here. Okay, back. Now on this, it's a Phillips screwdriver. This is for your starter on this engine's down the bottom. I like disconnecting the wires because if I forget and drop the motor and the wires are still hooked up, I'll probably be a little bit angry. Because then you've got your hands full of motor and no way to hold anything. This is the tiny screw. The wire is now free. And now I just gotta undo this ground bolt, which is an 8, as we know. Everything on these things are 8s and 10s for the most part. 8mm socket. My old Craftsman set from 1995, which is slowly falling apart. Again, just remember which bolts go on which, because some of these are just tabs to mount stuff, and some of these are actually bolts that may have an oil effect. So if you undo them, you'll find out the hard way. You just let oil out, and you won't be happy. Again, I'm not an expert on these things. Just a backyard guy. So the good news, you don't have to clip this. It's not even a zip tie. It's just kind of there. It's like a zip tie that wasn't zipped. So that makes my life easy, I guess. that goes. Just kind of dangle that. Put this back in here just because. Leave it a little loose so you know it's loosey. Put that aside. Put it next to the starter screw back down here somewhere. Okay. So now you got your starter wire undone. This is your fuel drain line. Now my plan is to leave everything on here and just drop it. So I'm not gonna go too crazy, I just wanna get the wiring off. So the wiring is officially off, minus this electrical wire inside here. Okay, so my next project would be to get rid of the fuel, which, you know, we're just gonna let that do whatever it's gonna do. Well, that's how we work. They make these carburetors really tight to get these hoses off. I don't want to wreck the clamps either, so I like to reuse what I got. Also known as thrifty. You see, I can undo this from the top, but then even later I'll have to fight with the new carb to get it back on here later, so I'd rather just do it like this. I think high enough to pull it up. Encouragement, as we say. Gotta get it over the nipple of the brass portion of the carburetor. There it goes. Now we're free. This may drip some gas. Don't stress, because I'm not. Make sure you're in the off position or you will be stressing. I have pretty much a full tank, so that would be bad. Again, you don't want to yank on these factory lines too much. Just try and pry them up a little bit, get them going. Don't wreck them. If you plan on reusing them, don't wreck them. That's when I get gas in my eye, probably. I do like the fact these are tight fitting. Now, if you don't want this dangling in your way, you can disconnect it up top as well, which I'm probably going to do because I don't want it dangling in my way. Careful with your petcock. I heard some of these Chinese ones are not the best. Take the hose off. That's what I would do. Take it out of your way. So now again, the only wire left's in here, and undo the carb up here, and disconnect this fake airbox thing they got going on. This is a pair system. Yes, it's basically how they managed to get it to have an emissions standard that allegedly meets the U.S. criteria. I'll be taking all this off today as well at some point. Not critical. So you see how this is all hooked together. I'm literally going to drop the engine. The only thing to do up here is undo your carb. Your accelerator cable's up in here. I don't know if you can see that, but you can probably see me reaching upwards. So we can tilt this back a bit. There we go. There we go. Anyway, you unscrew this here, and out will come your assembly. You're going to do this little vent tube here too, because it's just there for looks, pretty much. It's part of the pair system, rebreathe. I call it a rebreather, but you get it. You get the idea. So anyway, you're going to pull this up. Don't damage the pin, needle. Just let that kind of, chill. Put it up out of your way. See, out of the way. I have another PZ19 carb, the exact same carb. So I literally only have to put the carb on and drop that in, and it should be set. I didn't mess with the new carb. I did put a 92 jet in. This is a 50cc with an 82. So that's how it was running in prior videos. Get this off gently. There, that's undone. See, now I'm totally disconnected up here. put them up in the air if you want. There's actually a spot right here in the fork neck. You can like lay your hoses, I guess. It's good for that. Again, the better visual you have of what's going on, the easier it'll be to work on. This is your full fuel bowl drain hose. You can lay that back here with the other hose. Again, it's going to come down to common sense. At least the video shows you what I'm doing. If you need to, take pictures. Okay, next up on the list, trying to get the wiring solved. At least for me, that's what's next. I might as well take this off. Let's take off the side cover and see what's going on here in the gearbox. Now, for ease of purpose, I put the 16-tooth sprocket on the new engine. This is currently a 14 on the 50. I was told a 16 on the bigger engine with the kit would help get a higher top speed. I didn't have a 17, however I had a brand new 16, so I'm gonna get a 16. Most guys with these bigger engines are running 17 fronts, you know, and they're reporting it's better. And now on top of this little side cover, there's a rubber piece right here. It's gonna fall out. It's not attached to anything. It's just there. It always pops out and lands, and you'll lose it because it's black and small. But you want to try and keep that hole plugged to keep the water out of the gear area. I mean, I've already had this off before, so. And there's your gear assembly. There goes the rubber piece. Okay, so there's that. Slide this down a little bit. Again, don't lose your bolts. Try to keep everything in your brain. I'm just going to briefly move you over here to see what I'm looking at. So these two bolts here are going to come out. They're 10s. The gear will come off the shaft. If I get lucky, I have enough slack, maybe not, to drop that off. The other engine bolt, mounting bolt, is here. That's the back engine bolt, and this is the top engine bolt. These are your two bolts that hold your engine on. So the engine slides out of this little tiny nook here. So, okay, let's keep going. Open the battery door. Again, this is MayHem bike. Amstar Nostalgia 50cc engine removal. Part 1. I feel a breeze, that feels nice. I brought out water. Take your side cover off. Way back yonder. GPS tracker. For now, I'll just drop it in here. Yeah. Feel better about that. Okay. Once you get this out, you're going to want to take your battery out, unfortunately. Now, because I removed my air box, the factory air cleaner and stuff, my battery comes out a lot easier than most of y'all's will. So that's a plus for me. Try not to lose your battery nut. Okay, so that's out of the way. Take the bolt off too so you don't lose it. This makes sense. Because you have to get in here to your wiring to do this swap thing. Better to have the battery out of your damn way for the day. Take that. Wiggle, wiggle, jiggle, jiggle. If you put your battery in the bike, you kind of know it's a pain. Okay, so that's out of the way. I'm going to take the nuts and the battery further into the house because I don't want to sit down in the sun all day. Now my attempt here is to unpin the factory Molex so I can slide the wires out that go down here to the stator. And that's my goal here. I have a very fine point set from Walmart. It's got some bits in it. I did it the other day in one of my other videos just to see if I could do it prior to this video. So let's see if I can do it, because that would make me happy. So you reach up in your battery box. There's going to be a Molex plug. I don't know if you could see that. I'm sure it's in frame. Molex plug. There's a push connector on the back. You squeeze it. Humpty slides apart. Your goal is to get this one out of here through this tiny little hole down here with all the other wires. Basically, these two wires can stay. This engine wiring harness has to come out. So if I can undo this Molex and safely get this out without chopping the wire, I'll be a really happy camper. So let's see what I got, as we say. Yeah. Now, this yellow wire in the middle on the factory harness is white. So you'll have to be mindful. What I'm going to do is make a black mark on it with a black marker. Black marker. Black marker to mark the yellow middle wire. That way I know it's the white wire on the other harness. Pretty good. See? That way I know that's actually the white wire. See, on this end it's yellow, white, blue. On this side it's yellow, yellow, blue. And the other two actually match up. So, no rocket science there. Okay, so mark your wiring if you don't know what you're doing. The wiring diagram's up on the forums, I think on Facebook page. Now I just want to see if I can get this connector off my handy dandy screwdriver kit. Connector inside is a small pin, which you have to get to pull the wiring out without wrecking the connector, hopefully. Might need a bigger bit because that one's just not got enough bite. There's the bit. And a little more leverage would be helpful. Get it in there. See, it won't go quite enough in there. I had the bit to do it. Just give me a minute. Seems a little longer. There's a tab that you can see through the connector. You gotta like push it down, pry it towards you. Of course, this will be the day nothing wants to go proper, right? Of course, why would it? Let's try the middle one. Twist maybe. Try twist. Having no luck today. Of course, when I need to do it, you know how it goes. When you need to do it or want to do it, you can't get it to do it. You don't need to do it. It'll do it real easy. This may turn into an ugly show today. This is totally not working today. I can't find the bit that I had the other day. I'm an idiot. Patience, right? Did it the other day, easy peasy. Now today I don't want to cooperate. I have another Molex coming in, so I'm not super concerned here about this one, but I was trying to do this to make life easy. It's not working. Fudge. Well, this is not how I wanted my day to go. Fix this connector. That connector. Fix that connector back. It looks like I'm gonna have to clip the wires in here, which I wasn't trying to do because there's not a whole lot of length to even do it. To clip the wires right there. It's gonna give me a narrow margin here. This is gonna be terrible. Well, you gotta do what you gotta do. Clipped. Not what I had planned for today, folks. But again, sometimes you just gotta do it. And apparently the other guy that did his swap had to do a similar situation. So here's your wire connector. If you want, you can plug it back on for now. Make sure it still works. If you screw it up like I just did almost. There you go. All locked in. Get it out again, we'll be good. There we go. Looks like I didn't damage them, so that's good. It's a tight fit. See how that one slid out? That's not good. So these terminals are touchy. It's almost flat. So yeah, we'll have to fix that or look at that later. That slid out last time I was playing with this. Anyway, there's your connector. Just kind of make it so. Anyway, there's your wire. So you're gonna try and get this wire down and out without wrecking the rest of your wiring. Again, it's a tight fit, so a little jiggly wiggly. This hole they give you to slide this through is terribly small. Okay, that's how short your harness is, and plus the extra 2 inches. So literally, that's all you got. Okay, so you got your wiring off. Just remember, like I said, unfortunately the one yellow wire came off, so now I'm kind of lost on this one. Can't win, but you get the idea. I'll have to figure that out another day. Yellow, yellow. Oh, okay, it's actually kind of stacked. See how the yellow is above the other one, so I can make that work. Get my marker out and mark it before I forget my brain. Cut the insulation back. See how the yellow is next to the yellow? And the other wires are actually in an order. So that worked well because it's yellow, yellow, blue, which is yellow, yellow, blue. And it would be like that. So I'm going to surmise that this wire here, because it's yellow, yellow, blue, this yellow one in the middle is actually the white one for future references. Okay, now that's off. You're going to bust off your two 10mm thingamabobs. Yeah. This is what happens when you're not organized, folks. It's too early in the morning. Just not awake. I do have a 10mm socket. I used it, so I own one. Where did I throw it? I was done with it last time. I played with gear. people talking, it's because I'm on a public sidewalk. Everything I do is out in public, folks. Okay. Winner chicken dinner. I've had this Klein skinny 6-inch adapter for years. It's like since like the 80s. It's like my best friend. I like it better than the Craftsman's. Just because. Now, don't laugh, but this is Earthquake XT impact gun from Harbor Freight. It's rated at like 400 foot-pounds or something. And trust me, I took an entire set of lug nuts off a whole car and put them all back on and still had like 3/4 of battery, so. For speed purposes, this is your best friend. Let's rotate this. Just taking the little gear thing off. You spin it a half turn and that'll come off. The 210s come off. Your goal would be to try and get this off of here, but it depends on how tight your chain is. You have to loosen the entire world. I'm hoping not to have to do that till after I get the engine swapped. Oh, good. Okay. Take the gear off. Lay your chain down. That's out of the way. Again, if you need to, take pictures as you're going. Try and be special. Sorry if I'm going slow, but again, you guys wanted to see how it's done, and I'm still trying to figure it out. From what I could see, I got left is just these 2 big bolts holding the engine. Hopeful. I don't like surprises. So, disconnect it. Look, I'm like David Copperfield. Nothing seen, no wires. Okay. Make sure there's nothing on the other side I might have missed. That's undone. Exhaust is undone. No ground wires on this side. No wires connecting to the frame. No, I think that's about it here. Let's figure out the engine bolt size. No, that's too big. That's too big. It's too big. That's a 15. Probably like a 14. Which I just had, right? So we know we own a 14. Not a 14. To be honest, I don't know what size it is. Come in. I know it's not a 1/2 inch. Can't be. Who the hell would do that? Oh, it's a 1/2 inch. 13 millimeter. Wow, that's crazy. That's crazy, man. Now the question is, do I have a 1/2 inch socket of some sort? Or 13 to be precise. I'm sure I do. Make sure you're set in reverse, guys. Don't do like I just did almost. I guess I'll do the bottom one first. See if it's going to loosen up. Sounds like it. Yes, there's the nut for every bolt on this thing. And the irony is the nut on this side is smaller. Yeah, for both. So I guess they used a 12 or something for that, and a 13 for that. See? Why can't they just keep it even? You got a 13 on one side, use a goddamn 13 on the other, folks. Why make this harder than it has to be? 12. 12 works. 12 fits the other side. Again, have your assortment of metrics. You can always verify. That extension's making it work. Try it again. I guess that came loose. Yep. That nut's off. We have success, folks. I'll do the same on the bottom, but for that I'm going to need an extension because it's too tight. Don't go yanking the bolts out. You want to put a motor laying on the ground the hard way. Find a place to hang this wrench. Hard when you got one person. Now on this side of the engine, the bolt you'll be removing, the nut you'll be holding will be the one that's the same one that holds your brake switch. It's got like a little groove on the end of it, like a little nub. But you'll see it over here. It's where all your hooks hook to for your spring returns. So let's see if we can do this. Myself. See if that works. This is a little trick for a minute. Just have to hold it to bust it loose. Sounds like it worked. We had movement on the engine. Yep. Now I was told when you reinstall these bolts, it's 17 foot-pounds of torque. So don't go too nutty. Remember their Chinese bolts, even though they said 10.9. I'm not holding my breath on that rating. You might want to go get some grade 8s or something. You'll notice it's a really tight fit up here, so actually what I'm going to do is do this because there's plenty of room in this box for this. Doing okay. A little engine work today before it gets too hot.
Yeah, it looks like it's one of those days.
It's gonna be 92 later.
Oh no.
Yeah. Have a good day.
You too.
Yes, ma'am. Anyway, I believe that's it, folks. I'm gonna go get my. I don't have a jack. So the girlfriend didn't have a jack. know the engine weighs about 40 pounds. I'm gonna slide the camera back a little bit because I want to get brave and stupid here at the same time. Pulling these out by hand. There you go. Okay, that one's out. See, the end of that one on that side has a nub. That's where all your hooks hook to.
Hang on.
Okay. And this is going to be the fun one because I get to lift the weight of the engine. Okay, guys. Let's see what happens. Good news, I used to work out. Gently twist as you're putting the bolt. There you go. Catch your baby. Oh, what a big baby. Set it gently on the ground. Get your hand out from under it. Okay, your engine is out. Yep. And just as I suspected, folks, up inside here is your coil for your spark plug. They hide it inside the frame. So if you ever have plans of having to replace your coil, you'll have to rip the entire engine out to get to your coil pack, which would be terrible. So, very few options on that. You can unbolt it now and move it, which I may or may not do. But it's in there, it ain't going nowhere. But just so you're aware, that's where your coil is. It's inside the frame here. Just like I read on some forums. There are rubber bushings in here. Actually, no, there's not. I lied. I thought there was rubber bushings. There's not. It's just metal and metal on both spots. So there you go. 50cc nostalgia engine out. It's all discombobulated. Give me a few minutes to recoup and get some water. I don't know how long I've been out here, but there you go. MayHem bike, part 1, 50cc nostalgia engine removal.